Welcome to the Inject Creativity Live Show. My name is Rob the Robot from the Adobe Education team. This is a free online show for primary, secondary and post-secondary educators interested in enhancing digital literacy, communication and creativity in the teaching and learning process. Here are your hosts, Dr. Tim Kitchen and Aaron Raithke.
Thanks, Rob, and welcome to the Inject Creativity Live Show. The show aimed to encourage teachers to enhance their students and their own digital literacy, communication, and most importantly, creativity skills. Welcome, Aaron.
Hey, Tim, and welcome to everyone who's joined us live for this episode, being recorded at 6:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time on Wednesday, the 23rd of February 2022, via the Adobe for Education YouTube channel, as well as the Australasian Adobe and Education Facebook group.
We encourage you to say hi in the chat and let us know where you're from and where you teach.
So while you're in the chat sharing a bit about yourselves, we would like to do an acknowledgement of country.
We respect and honour all Indigenous people from the lands we reach out to during this event. We acknowledge their stories, traditions and living cultures. We acknowledge them as the first educators and the first creatives, and we commit to building a brighter future together. During this episode, we'll be focusing on the recent launch of Adobe Creative Cloud Express.
We'll enjoy a special demo from New South Wales Adobe Education leader Craig Delmeyer-Power.
Our special guest education thought leader will be Michelle Dennis from Hailbury.
We'll be promoting a number of Adobe-related education resources and professional learning opportunities. And our behind-the-scenes guru, Adobe Senior Customer Success Manager Jerry Wong, will have a special quiz question for us.
You're watching Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Aaron Raithke.
All right, I'm just looking at the chat now and we're wanting to see some people saying hi. We know we've got quite a few people who have joined us already live, so jump into the chat. Let us know where you're from. Hopefully we'll be able to see the chat from both YouTube and from Facebook and from Twitter, but at this stage, everyone is being a little bit shy.
Well, no, we actually do have greetings from, is it Joe Mark? Joe Mark?
Yeah, I can't see. So obviously you're seeing it more than I am.
Yeah, greetings from Adobe Community. Happy to see you, Tim and Aaron Raithke. Thank you very much. Also, Rahul. Hi, everybody. Rahul here from Mumbai in India. And
Lovely to meet you, Rahul. Thank you for joining us.
And of course, our very dedicated Timothy Cosgrove joining us from Toronto at whatever very early hour of the morning it is. Temperature is -1 degree Celsius.
Wow. And we've got a Facebook user who's unidentified at the moment. He's saying greetings from the Philippines.
Lovely.
There we go. And of course, Joe Mark is also from the Philippines as well. Well, it's terrific. It's great to have you guys with us. And we are looking forward to a wonderful show. So please keep throwing your comments in and saying hello to each other. We've got Double Chook, alias Mark Christie, who's saying greetings from Darwin. Sometimes he's in Melbourne, sometimes he's in Darwin. It's great to have you with us, Mark. Thanks for joining us. And that seems to be the only chats that are coming through at the moment. So yeah, keep pushing them through, and we'll look forward to hearing from you soon.
You're watching Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Aaron Raithke.
Now let's welcome our good friend and the Inject Creativity Live moderator and techie whiz, Jerry Wong. Hi, Jerry.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I will be looking out for your comments and questions in the chat and posting the most relevant ones. To encourage you to use the live chat, I have an Adobe-related quiz question for you. How many teachers have opted into the monthly Australasian Adobe in Education Update newsletter? Is it 5,300? 33,000 or 49,000?
Wow, let's see who's going to be the first to respond with that multiple choice question. I think, Jerry, it's the first time we've had a multiple choice question to make it nice and easy for everyone. And waiting to get a response. Who's going to be the first one to get the right
broadcasting across a couple of channels, so anyone could be in it. We got Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube all coming through. Oh, Double Chook reckons 33,000.
Well, and so does Tim Cosgrove, it looks like, too. But I've got to tell you guys, you're both wrong. You're both wrong. You had a 1 in 3 chance, and you didn't get that one. So you've got another
if it
opportunity.
helps, it's not just people who've done it this year. It's
there we go. So we do have 40. No, we're getting close to 50,000 teachers who have opted into communications with our newsletter, which is rather exciting. And we're actually going to be looking at the February edition of that newsletter later on in this show, which went out to ANZ people today, went out to Southeast Asian people during the weekend. So hopefully most of you have got already access to the February edition of our newsletter.
We hope you're enjoying this episode of Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Rathke.
Thanks, Rob. Let's meet our guests for this episode, and welcome to the stage Adobe Education Leader Craig Delmeyer-Power from New South Wales and Adobe Education Leader Michelle Dennis from Victoria.
Firstly, Craig, welcome back to the show. For those watching who haven't met you, tell us about your teaching role at TAFE New South Wales.
Thanks, Erin. I'm the head teacher of photography, screener media and games development at Western Sydney Creative Centres in Kingswood in Sydney. And please excuse my barking dogs.
No worries. Michelle, it's always a delight to have you on the show. For those watching who haven't met you before, tell us about your role at Hailbury.
Well, my role's really about trying to find how to bring the digital fun into everyday education. I also get to work on some really cool projects like launching Australia's first private online school soon.
Wow, that's really exciting. Do you want to just give us a quick 30 seconds about what that actually is all about?
Well, we now know, and we knew this even before the pandemic, that people are looking for flexible learning options. Not every kid has a good school near them. Not every kid has a lifestyle that can support learning 9 to 5 in a traditional room. So they need options, and one of the great things about working with Hailbury is it's really forward looking, and it's one of the things that we're looking at producing, and we've called it Hailbury Pangea, and I'm in fact teaching the first subject right now in this online school, which is a social media marketing course for teenagers.
And how many students are already part of the school?
Well, this is the very first course. So this is our alpha test, beta test. But so there's only it's only a class of 5 from across Australia, and we do want those class sizes to be really small. Like that's what we're actually designing it for. That they get 2 hours intense time with an expert, rather than more time spread over the week.
Wow, we're looking forward to developments on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so back to you, Craig. Could you please share with us something interesting about yourself that not many people would know?
I'm a big Boba Fett, Star Wars Lego fan. And not just recently. It's been like, quite a while. So Boba Fett, when he first turned up in the Empire Strikes Back, that's when I sort of went, No, he actually was in the originals.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Oh, no, that's lovely. So are you going to extend that to Mando, or are you very much a Boba Fett Puritan? So...
No, I actually do like, Mandalorian as well. So, yeah, I've been watching the whole series. So I've done that back to back as well.
You've obviously got a fellow geek there sitting above you at the moment.
Gladly. Flag. There it is.
Michelle, do you have any idea what they're talking about?
I do. Although I haven't seen, I'm the last one who has not seen the Disney Plus series. I'm actually
then Zip. Yep, absolutely. They're there for you to enjoy when you get a chance in between establishing a Hailbury Pangea class. That sounds like it's pretty time consuming, Michelle.
So, Michelle, tell us something about you that people may not know much about.
Well, I used to be famous for killing plants. Every time someone gifted me a plant, I knew that at one point it was going to become fertilizer. And
coil.
exactly. And since the pandemic struck, I actually have started not only keeping them alive, but buying my own. So very slowly, I'm converting my house into.
I can see your lovely background. Yeah.
Only 2 of the ones so far. So basically, my aim is to at some point have some kind of jungle theme. And yeah, it's going to be a little bit creepy, Day of the Triffids, if I'm not careful.
Hey, you're going to be so oxygenated, you're not even going to know yourself. It's going to be great.
Oh, absolutely.
And Craig, where are we up to? Yes, Michelle.
Craig, tell us what you'll be sharing for this episode.
Yep. So this evening I'll be showing how I can make Photoshop fly into Aero. So I'm going to do a bit of augmented reality, but jumping from Photoshop, jumping over to Aero. So showing those sort of aspects as well.
Excellent, because we've had recent episodes where we've gone from Minecraft to Aero and made Minecraft an augmented reality experience. So this will be great to see how we can use Photoshop to do the same. So all the layers in Photoshop and then walking through the layer. Oh, brilliant. I've seen that demo before. It is such a cool one. So you really are going to look forward to that. It's wonderful.
And Michelle, what will you be sharing later with us in this episode?
Well, I recently had to justify why we should actually be teaching our students about social media. So I thought that's something that I'm really passionate about, and I'd like to share with the rest of the world that we should, in fact, be training our students in the arts of social media marketing.
Great. Looking forward to it. So we will be hearing from both of you very soon.
You're watching Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Raithke.
Now, Erin, believe it or not, Rob the Robot was actually really busy at the start of this year.
He was indeed. He put together this clip that outlines some of the main Adobe and education programs this year, including the Inject Creativity Live show.
Well, hello folks, it's Rob the Robot here from the Adobe Education team. The start of 2022 has opened up many opportunities to enhance digital literacy, collaboration, communication skills, engagement, and most importantly, creativity in your classrooms with the help of Adobe. Last December, Adobe launched an improvement and rebranding of Adobe Spark to the new Adobe Creative Cloud Express set of apps, as well as Adobe Creative Cloud Express for Education, which is free for all K-12 schools globally. To help celebrate this announcement and support teachers and students, we have launched a new resource called Get to Know Adobe Creative Cloud Express. Look up adobe.ly/express-APAC to access this resource. It is a one-stop shop to help and support teachers and students and includes video tutorials and simple one-page user documentation resources covering many of the features within Adobe Creative Cloud Express. The Adobe TeachMeets program is happening again in 2022. Find out more via adobe.ly/teachmeets. Each TeachMeets session provides an opportunity for teachers to enhance their knowledge and skills with either simple, low-lift and high-impact tools like Adobe Creative Cloud Express, as well as the high-end applications found within the full Adobe Creative Cloud. The Inject Creativity Live YouTube show is back in action in 2022 with a new lineup of amazing Adobe education leaders who will be sharing their expertise. Find out more via adobe.ly/injectcreativitylive. If you haven't already, look up adobe.ly/contact-edu-APAC to join the monthly Australasian Adobe in Education Update newsletter. And if you would like more regular updates, join the Australasian Adobe Education Community Facebook group via facebook.com/groups/AUSAEL. During 2022, we have 3 challenges for each of you. 1. Get to know and work with an Adobe application that you currently are not familiar with. 2. Recruit at least one of your colleagues into the Adobe Creative Educator program. And 3. Run at least one Adobe-related professional learning session for your school or faculty and share about it in the Facebook group. Have a great 2022, and on behalf of the wider Adobe Education team, keep being creative.
Thanks, Rob. Now, did you take note of those 3 challenges from Rob the Robot this year?
So, in case you didn't, challenge 1 is to use an Adobe app that is new to you.
Challenge 2, recruit a new Adobe Creative Educator.
And challenge 3 is to run and share some Adobe-related professional learning events with your education community.
Rob also encouraged you to join the monthly Australasian Adobe in Education Update newsletter.
We trialled a new way of sending out the newsletter this month with an abridged version emailed out to all who have opted in.
And throughout the abridged version, there were links to the full version, which is now available via timkitchen.net. In fact, let's have a look at some of the stories in there. I'll just share my screen now. And we're going live to timkitchen.net, and we can see the main story is last week's, or 2 weeks ago, the last episode of Inject Creativity Live. And then we have a bunch of bookmark links or anchor links, and you click on them, they'll take you to the various stories. So this is a fairly in-depth newsletter. You just click on the ones that you think are most relevant to you. But the email that you should have got today, if you're from Australia and New Zealand, or you should have got over the weekend if you're from Southeast Asia, is the abridged version that links to this. If you didn't get that, it means something's gone wrong with the system, and I encourage you to email me at kitchen@adobe.com. Jerry, I don't know if we've got a banner there already with my email address, but if you could set that up, that'd be lovely. kitchen@adobe.com. And I'm starting to get a lot of teachers who have dropped off the system. What happens is if you've ever, in your history of your email, ever unsubscribed to anything to do with Adobe, then you won't get that newsletter with our new system. So if you still want to get it and you didn't get it this week, email me with an email that probably wasn't already on our system. So maybe a personal email rather than the school one, or vice versa. And that way you're more likely to get the monthly abridged version. I hope that makes sense. Erin, did that make sense to you?
That does make sense. I mean, it's good if an unsubscribe, being a faithful unsubscribe, is very, very good. But if you maybe just unsubscribed from something, we want to make sure that you can get access to the newsletter, because it's much more efficient for you than haunting Tim's website, which he does update all the time. So
yeah, and of course, if you unsubscribe to one of our marketing campaigns 3 years ago, then you're going to be in the list of people that we just don't contact.
Yeah.
And so that's probably why you're not getting it. But if you still want to get it, the opportunity's there for you. And Erin, you've had a quick look at our newsletter this week. Is there anything there you think that stands out that we should highlight? Because there's a lot in it. There's a lot.
Oh, there was so much in it. Oh my goodness. So I went through and had a bit of a look. I did see some, because obviously everyone can already tell I'm here doing this show. I do teach meets. I'm very, very tuned in with the PD that Adobe offers. But there's also some great opportunities that are available, special events for New South Wales and Victorian teachers and students. There's also the National Education Summit that's on in June and August for Melbourne and Brisbane teachers. And Tim has very kindly in his newsletter provided all of the links to these events that he will either be at or participating in for you to register. And a lot of them are, in fact, free for educators. So I very much encourage you to have a bit of a look forward and check out and see what you can stick on your PD plan for 2022.
Wonderful. All right, we're about to hear from our Adobe Education leader. So just before we bring Craig on, let's get his official introduction happening.
Hi folks, we are about to be inspired by an AEL, an Adobe Education leader. AELs are passionate about the use of Adobe tools to inspire creative learning and teaching experiences in the delivery of either primary, secondary, or post-secondary curricula. The first step to becoming an AEL is to be an ACE, an Adobe Creative Educator, via edx.adobe.com/adobe-creative-educator. You don't have to be an Adobe expert to be an ACE, just a teacher interested in engaging students through creative digital learning experiences. The ACE program is a free international micro-credentialing program. It only takes a few hours to earn your Level 1 badge, and the focus is on creativity rather than Adobe. Please share this program with your colleagues and get involved. Who knows, you may one day also become an Adobe education leader.
And it's a delight to have Adobe Education Leader Craig Delmeyer Power on the show to present to you. Over to you, Craig.
Thanks, Tim. And okay, so let me share my screen. Awesome. So, right, so we're going to be jumping into Photoshop. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a brand new file. And let me just move that over. And in this case, I'm just going to use the standard Photoshop file that's in there. But it may be that the end one you might go for a 1920 by 1080 pixel. It's underneath the film and video, or even web. I'm just going to leave this as a standard one for today's session. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to show you how we can actually use Photoshop to go into Aero. And so the case of it not just being a flat 2D, but we want to see it as a 3D sort of, or I call it pseudo 3D or expanded 2D, so that you can actually walk through. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag in a background that I've actually got from Adobe stock. And I'm just going to make this a little bit larger for what I want to work with there. And so you can see that you've got to sort of look at where you want something there. So this is right at the back, and I'm going to then that there, and you can see that's called background. And then I might want to bring in a character, and so here I've got a nice little Easter rabbit ready for we're coming up to Easter, so I might want to sort of do that. I'm just going to scale him down so he's actually the right sort of size. And again, I'm just going to bring him in, and you can see he is again from Adobe stock as well. And then what I'm going to do is bring in something that we can bring into the foreground space. So in this one, I'm going to bring in as well, just as an image. Let's not bring that in. Let me do the page. Bounding box. Let's go to art box. Yep. And hit OK. And so now you can see I've got that now. It's quite large, so I might scale that down. So let's scale that down here. The great thing about it is because it's actually a smart object, we can actually go back in at any given time and change it around. And what I'm going to do is just going to duplicate this multiple times. So you can see that if I go down to the bottom, drag that to the little plus, it automatically just duplicates it. I could also, and I'm just going to play around with this a little bit and hide maybe some parts. So do a little bit of a blend. So visual, because you've got all that mismatch going there, so it actually hides sort of that area as well. Now what I could do is right hand click on that, and then I could actually duplicate layer as well as another option for me, and hit OK, and that's giving us another duplicate. And so now I can bring that one right across, and I might even bring that one behind, just so we've sort of got that hiding sort of aspect. So you can see that now straight away I've got our rabbit, our Easter rabbit. I've got the background, and then I've also got my foreground. So we've got multiple layers. Now to jump into Aero, it's a good idea to actually flatten down each of your layers into a minimum sort of level as much as possible. So it's ideally they say leave it to about 5 layers at the most. But what I'm going to do is just have this going there, and I'm going to bring that one, so do that, and I'm just going to rasterize these layers so that they're all now there, and especially with these ones here, what I'm going to do with these ones is I'm now going to bring it right down, and I'm going to merge just those layers as well. Right, so you've got the merge layers. So effectively, I've got my three backgrounds. Background and my midground and my foreground. I'm just going to get rid of that one. I like to actually always lock the background as well, so that way that it's in that one spot. And so from there, if I wanted to bring that into Aero, I can actually go up the File, down to Export, and then I can export for Aero. So it's going to jump straight out of Photoshop and allow me to utilize it in Aero as well. So I'm going to show you, I mean, it's really simple sort of process, but I'm going to show you some extra bits that I've done as well. So went and did a Christmas wish with Nikon a couple of years ago, and we had Santa come in on a green screen, and the idea was, have, again, as you can see, the three layers. So we've got the overlayer, which was the Merry Christmas and some snow and that sort of thing. So we can actually hide that sort of aspect of being able there. Myself and St. Nick, all right, so I've got that selfie sort of happening, and then just a really cool background that's related to it as well. Right. So that looked like when we actually had all the layers. So here, I'm now going to bring the layers out. You can see that I've got a whole range of ones set up. So the haze, a bit of haze is sort of getting over the top. The snowfall, so we've got that as one layer there. The things that are over the feet, which is a subgroup, so you can see that we've got the snow over the feet itself, the hide, sort of the blending aspect. So it's really a good idea of always think about how do you hide those sort of areas as well. The grass as well, so we've got some grass that was over the feet area, so as though you're in this grassed area. And then having the Christmas selfie sort of aspect there, and with the background. Now for today's one, I thought, well, Christmas, it's already gone, so we might want to start, saying we're going to prepare for this Christmas because it's a little bit too early in the year to be doing that. So I thought, no, instead, let's go and have that generation, and let's get rid of some of these extra bits and pieces. And what I'm going to do is bring in those extra bits that I just showed you earlier on. So we've got the layers there, we've got that there, and then I'm going to bring in my rabbity friend here, and even though I've flipped him on the horizon, so that way then it's worked a little bit better for me. Then what I thought of doing was bringing in my selfie. And so what I've done there is I've just got the eraser tool and erased out St. Nick. Right? So effectively I've gone from St. Nick there and got rid of St. Nick. And simply by using the eraser tool, and that's pretty aggressive, but I really don't, sort of worry about, sort of trying to bring that back. I've actually just made a brand new layer. I've worked on that to get rid of, the area there. So I've actually worked on that layer by just simply using the brackets to scale up and down the brush size rather than having to come up the top here each time. And then just working really closely about just removing what I wanted from there. Then I popped in and had the rabbit, but you can see the issue is I want to be able to have that blended through so we're next to each other. So I actually made a copy of just the head. And so then if I do that, you can see that I've just got that component there and blending it through. And that will then give me that idea that I'm actually foreground and background. So we're working sort of that aspect of doing that there. So what I ended up with is, a nice little sort of selfie shot with, the Easter bunny ready for Easter to go this year. And then the final thing that I needed to do now is before I send it off to Aero is to remove the layers that I don't need. And also what I've done is actually added in some sort of cheer in this respect of having Happy Easter 2022 in there. So I've actually added that in as an extra layer by using the type tool. Then from the type tool, rasterizing it. So that way then it's ready to move on. So what does this look like when we actually export it out into Aero. So what I'm going to do today is I could go File and then go to my Export and then go to Export for Aero. And it's going to do that, and it's waiting and it's doing the exporting out for us. So once that's exported out, I can come into Aero and then bring it in. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you the desktop version of Adobe Aero as another tool that you can actually utilize and work with. So you can see here that what I've got is this Christmas card aspect. And yes, there is a play on the wording there. You see the card is AR, so because it is augmented reality. But you can see now that we've actually got the different layers showing through here. And what that is I brought in different aspects as separate images, so that it is not just the one image of the Photoshop file, but also the flakes and the snow were on their own layers. But what I've done with this one in particular is actually separated the layers, so on the Z axis. So if you're not too sure about your X, your Y's, and your Z, so just a little bit of a recap. Yeah, you got your X and your Y, and then the Z's your depth. So being able to think of the Z axis. So what we want to do here is actually move our layers on that Z axis. And so what I've done there is I'm now going to just expand this up so we can see it a lot quicker. Down the bottom here, we've got our properties. And so when you first bring something in, you might find that you want to scale. So this one's actually quite large, so that when I go and augment it, it's actually going to be like 2 or 3 meters in space, so you can actually walk through it, that aspect. But you can see the layer spacing under here. We've got some variations. That's right down the bottom here. And so by scaling that, you can see I can now move everything either in or out, depending on what I want to do. Right, so we've got that sort of aspect of working with. It's really cool to actually, sort of play around with that aspect. And even in here, you can see that I can actually add in other aspects. So if I wanted to, for whatever reason, add in, a random shape, I could bring that 3D object in there with my Photoshop file as well. And what I'm going to do now is, let's go back to the start one, and I'm going to grab my Easter wish. And there's our Easter wish. So effectively, I've got 2 layers happening. One layer with the rabbit and myself and the text, and the other layer is our background. And so again, if I come along into there, you can see that I'm able to move that in, sizing. And then if I come right down the bottom, I can also change that scale space between it there as well. And so when you've got that and you've saved that, then you've got the capability of being able to export this out or share it. So if I do an export, it actually lets you export it out as a .real file, which is an Aero experience one that you can share. It can go to a universal scene description, which is a USDZ. So that will be compatible with a lot of the iOS environments. So if you've seen those emoji icons that are the new ones where they're 3D, that's actually a .usdz file as well. And also you could just send it out as just a screenshot showing obviously the depth there, but it's not going to be interactive as it could be there. So that's one way of exporting out. The other option that we've got there is actually to share. And so when you do the share component, you'll see that what happens up here, it's also available by clicking that little share icon. You've got the title there. You actually can create a link for this, and then that link is shareable around to anyone, including, if you've got a camera today, you could actually load on AR onto your iOS device, QR code it, and then you can actually even go in there and interact with this today as we're actually inside this session. So it's really cool sort of area there. So what does it look like inside of the application when we're got to the end users. So what I'm going to do now is drop that back to home. Just minimize that down. Just minimizing those both down up the way for us. And I'm now going to just bring up my QuickTime player, which has actually got it sort of loaded on. So I actually got my iPad here. So my iPad has actually got it loaded already. So here you can see that we've actually got that happening there. And if I come around, you can see there that I can see the separation between each layer, right, being able to work with it. And I could actually even hide some Easter eggs behind each one of those layers if I wanted to as well. So you've got that capability of being able to interact with it. Now, I could do this with my classes and doing them with WHS issues. So they actually have to put a WHS issue inside a space in there and then have it hidden and then share that with that so that other students and teaching staff get to actually go and explore that as well. Now, while I'm in this space, you can see that I might want to go, okay, I want to move this. And so I've got the move tool available for us. So I can actually move that backwards and forwards. And I'm moving this with my finger at the moment. I could also scale it down, but I'm now just pinching on the screen. And we can also rotate by simply just clicking on the rotate, and it will allow me to do my roll, yaw, and also pitch, and being able to do those. The scale, as I said before, was able to be done with the up and down. And then behaviors, you can actually do some interactivity into that as well. So some really great places to explore. So as Tim sort of said earlier there with Aaron, that hey, if there's a new app that you haven't had time to explore, this could be one that you could definitely go in and spend hours and hours with. Cool.
Thanks,
Hope you enjoyed that.
Such a cool demo and such great applications. And of course, Aero is still in beta on the desktop, but has been around in iOS for a number of years. You just had a comment there from Matthias, who's from the Netherlands. So we're getting an audience from all over the world. And so welcome, Matthias. It's great to have you with us on the show. Craig, thank you very much for your time and your efforts in putting that together. And if you missed any of the steps, you can always go back and watch the recording and just go, even with frame by frame, and just pick up the little things that Craig taught you. There was a lot involved in there, Craig, with Photoshop and well, what a great combination. Thanks, mate.
It's awesome. Thanks a lot.
You're watching Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Aaron Raithke.
Adobe education leaders are part of, let's bring Aaron back up, here we go, are part of the highest level of Adobe's education community program, a very exclusive program with only about 64 teachers qualifying in the Australasian region.
Adobe education leaders are active members of the Adobe Education Exchange and are very passionate about using Adobe applications to enhance digital literacy, communication, and creativity skills in schools and universities.
They regularly share this passion with a network of educators wider than their own school or faculty and help to support the work of the Adobe and education teams around the globe.
If you are interested in becoming an AEL, the first step is to do the Adobe Creative Educator program. Get your ACE Level 1 and 2 badges via adobe.ly/ACE.
Jerry, do we have a slide? There we go. So you can see the link there. And if you haven't already done that program, we really recommend it. Of course, if you'd like to be guided through that program rather than just doing it on your own on demand, we are running, Aaron and I both run the Be a Creative Educator course. And the next opportunity will be on Tuesday, the 22nd of March at 4 p.m. until 6:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. So look up adobe.ly/creative educator for more information and share this site with your colleagues and wider education networks.
Of course, if you look up adobe.ly/ACE, you don't have to wait until the 22nd of March to become an Adobe Creative Educator. You can do the Creativity for All course on the Adobe Education Exchange at any time on demand.
The Creativity for All course is one of many great on-demand courses on the Adobe Education Exchange. Other popular courses at the moment include Teach Creativity with Adobe and the Khan Academy, preparing students with essential creative skills, engaging video projects in the classroom, Adobe Acrobat for teaching and learning, and the new Adobe Creative Cloud Express in the classroom course.
Look up edx.adobe.com to access all of these amazing courses and more.
Hi folks, well it's now time to welcome our education thought leader for their 5-minute gem to inspire us and make us think more deeply about the importance of our role as educators.
It is a delight to welcome our education thought leader for this episode, Adobe Education Leader Michelle Dennis, to the stage. Over to you, Michelle.
Thanks, Tim. One of the things that I feel very passionately about is that we need to prepare our students for the world that they're going to be interacting with. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to speak today about the importance of preparing our students and not putting our heads in the sand. And so one of the things that I've started developing and one of the things I am right now delivering is actually a course designed to give students the knowledge about social media marketing and really give them those skills early so that they navigate that really complicated realm with their full array of tools and knowledge to do it well. There's two things I want to talk about. Firstly, what social media issues our young people will be facing and how it impacts them. And then finally, why we shouldn't just ignore it and why we actually need to take the time in school to give our students expert level skills. So not just like a 30-minute quick lecture and assume that we've covered everything they need to know. So the world our students are living in, most of our students are in fact on social media. In fact, most of the world is on social media. We have 4.55 billion users who have a social media account. In fact, they don't just have one. There's 6.7 platforms per user on average. So people aren't just like sitting in one place in Instagram or in Facebook or in Twitter. Often they're spreading their interactions across quite a wide range of platforms. And they're not just spending a little bit of time either. They're spending 2.5 hours per week on average. Now that is 2021. We do know that that time is increasing, particularly with things like TikTok, which is one of the fastest growing social media networks at the moment. So we do know that that is something that is continually evolving, and the different platforms that people are using will always be there will always be something new and a different way of interacting. We also know that while we might like to think that what we see on social media is real and taken with a phone and uploaded straight away, the reality is that a lot of those photographs are quite edited. So I've got two photographs here. The one on the left, if you look really closely down towards the thigh area, you'll notice that there's a lot of like very dodgy curving going on, particularly around the phone. I don't think I've ever seen a phone curve quite like that. And if you look at Gordon Ramsay's face, that does not look like the kind of face that you would normally associate Gordon Ramsay with. He's got that kind of glowing effect. Both of those images were posted on Instagram in a very candid way, but in fact were heavily photoshopped. And that's something that we're seeing more and more, that the images that we see on Photoshop, on Instagram and other social media networks, the videos that we see, there's been a lot of work done in the background. And you have to be able to notice it and see it to start making sure that your brain's able to distinguish between the reality that we live in and the kind of reality that's displayed. Because what we see on social media is a very curated reality. Not only are the photos very artfully posed with beautiful lighting schemes, they're also only the best photos. And there's many different ways of people who've posted their images up and shown how many photos it takes to take that one perfect candid shot. But it's not just influencers that I'm talking about. Unfortunately, when you talk to teenagers, they are in fact curating their own social media presence. They are making sure that they only post the very best photos that show themselves to the best effect, doing the best things. In a school I taught at recently, one of the students said to me, "Miss Dennis, some girls only go to the party so that they can have a photo at the party. There's the reason they go, and then they leave again." And that's kind of curated reality is really dangerous because people start to judge themselves based on it. You've got this life. I can see it on my Instagram. And maybe, like, you know, it's not as professional as some of these influencers. It can feel like they're living a different life to you. And when you start judging yourself against that curated life, it's very, very dangerous. Finally, and one of the other things that you'll notice with teenagers in particular is they aren't aware of the algorithms behind what they see. TikTok's a really good example of this. It has some, it's a black box. We don't know exactly what the algorithm is, but the videos that they see is based on the kind of things that they view and the kind of things they like, and it's delivered up to them. So they're not actually going out and searching necessarily for things. TikTok and whatever other social media platform they're using is starting to deliver it to them. And not knowing how they're targeted and how those videos get to them is a really dangerous thing, because you start to think what I see is a fair representation of reality, when in fact, what you're seeing is not. It is confirming your bias, is what the computer thinks you want to see. So there might be a whole nother point of view, a whole nother way of thinking that you've just never seen because the computer's never shown it to you. So that targeting nature is hugely important. The other thing that most kids don't realize is behind the name, in fact, many different people might be posting. So when you look at Wendy's, which is a really interesting social media account because it's very sassy and fun, and they're really trying to present a different view of Wendy's, it's very smart. You might not realize that, in fact, there's a team who's posting those posts. It's not just one person. And so, again, it makes it present this reality of like, oh, I wish I could be that witty all the time. I wish I could come up with those quick retorts, or I wish I could be like that, when in fact, that's a whole team. It's not the person. And that celebrity you're following, probably not posting the posts that you're liking. So I really do think that we need to take social media marketing as a course and implement it in all schools. I think this is something that we have a duty to make sure that our students are on top of, because firstly, it covers all those key skills that we talk about when we talk about employability. You have to be a good problem solver because you're solving complex problems when you are working with social media marketing. It helps with digital literacy because you learn how to construct messages. You learn about the tricks of getting someone's attention, about how hashtags work to build community. You learn about the messages that every image we put out there sends, whether we realize we're sending it or not. Very, very important. You learn about creativity, which is something that students just think they can't do, but in fact is something that can be taught and is one of the most valued skills in the workplace. Finally, they have to learn about teamwork. If you look at that Wendy's account where a team might be running the social media account, you need to make sure that you're working together to get the same message, a same cohesive tone, and scheduling it right. And most importantly, communication, because often it's only a few words, a few texts, a few messages, and it's broadcast to so many people. You need to make sure that you're constructing your messages really carefully. So teaching social media marketing means that students are able to better present themselves and construct statements. So the kind of things that I'm teaching in my social media course is firstly how to create effective content. So they're learning about Photoshop, they're learning Adobe Rush, they're learning how to make things that look professional. But along the way, they're learning about things like how Photoshop happens, including the liquefy effect and how it can be used to change someone's appearance. So they're really doing that deep dive so that when they see an image, they will be able to better Not always, but know for sure, but better be able to analyze what's gone on to make it. Then we're going to be going more into the marketing side. We'll be looking at how those accounts are set up, how you use the analysis side of social media to look at who your audience is, how we can find stuff out about them, what they like, and target ads and target posts directly to people. So by actually doing it, they're going to learn about what's happening to them. And I think that's a really important thing, because we can tell them until we're blue in the face, but actually doing it, actually given the task to put a message out there and looking at the information that comes in, that's really, really important. I'm finally going to get them to actually do it themselves, and that's where the creativity comes in. So I want you to think about like how you can take something like social media marketing and build it into your school curriculum like we are.
It's wonderful, Michelle, and very, very timely as well, with Donald Trump launching a brand new social media platform this week. So there's endless opportunity.
Banned from that one.
Michelle, thank you so much for your preparation and putting that thought leadership piece together. And I know someone who's part of our AEL community would be very, very proud of you, and that's Dr. Karen Sutherland, who teaches about this all the time. Has written books about this, and this will be a huge thing for her. So I'm going to make sure I email her to just make sure she does watch this, because she'll be really impressed with what you're doing at a K-12 level to complement what she's doing in higher education. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you.
We hope you're...
Oh, let's try that again.
You're watching Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Raithke.
Well, last week we continued the Adobe Teach Meets program.
We did. Tim has put together this special video promotion. Let's check it out.
The Adobe Teach Meets program is a set of free and online creative professional learning opportunities for teachers in any subject area and any level who have access to Adobe applications. Each Teach Meet session involves a choice of online practical workshops, both for teachers who are new to Adobe and those who are experienced users. Each workshop is led by an Adobe education leader who is a practicing classroom, primary, secondary or higher education teacher, or they're led by members of the Adobe education team. All of these leaders are passionate about enhancing students' digital literacy, communication and creativity skills. Each Teach Meet session will run for 2 consecutive afternoon evenings, twice a term throughout 2022, starting at 4 p.m. Melbourne, Sydney time. The sessions are not recorded. They are live workshops with links to key practical resources and how-to guides for follow-up. Registration in advance is required. Any teacher who has access to Adobe tools will benefit from the Adobe Teach Meets program. So look up adobe.ly/teachmeets or scan this QR code to find out more and register for the sessions you would like to attend. Let all your colleagues know about this free online and creative professional learning opportunity from Adobe. Erin, can you tell us about the next Teach Meets opportunity?
No worries, Tim. The next set of Teach Meets will be on March the 30th and 31st at 4 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, with 10 great workshop options, including Creative Cloud Express, Premiere Rush, Premiere Pro, Photoshop, Aero, Acrobat, After Effects, Audition, and Character Animator.
So look up adobe.ly/teachmeets or scan this QR code that's on the screen right now and register your interest. When you have registered, you'll receive a Microsoft Teams conference link a few days prior to the event.
You don't have to commit to a particular workshop when you register. Just keep that in mind. You can leave that decision to the last minute when you join the live session. Hopefully we will see you all on March the 30th and 31st, starting at 4 p.m. AEDT.
We hope you're enjoying this episode of Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Raithke.
Thanks, Rob. We have a couple of special announcements for New South Wales and Victorian teachers about some opportunities for students this year.
Adobe is running a series of Adobe Creativity Challenges for New South Wales and Victorian students in years 5 to 9.
Adobe Creativity Challenges are all about students working with a team to design and share a digital solution based on a brief from an organisation or a global problem.
Find out more via adobe.ly/challenges-YR5 to 9. That's year 5 to 9. The digital solutions are made with Adobe's amazing creativity tools and are usually a short video, a mobile app design, or a web page. This is a great way for students to learn Adobe tools and develop a range of important collaboration, digital literacy, communication, problem solving, and creativity skills.
And we kicked off this morning, actually. We had our first creativity challenge for Victoria with 200 students registered from 4 different Victorian schools. And we did the kickoff this morning, and really looking forward to seeing what they produce over this week. And then it's next Tuesday is their deadline, and then next Wednesday is the showcase that we'll be recording and sharing live with the students as well. So it's a wonderful opportunity. We've got the New South Wales, the first one coming up the week after, and we've got 1,200 students already registered for that event for New South Wales. But every term we'll be running one for Victoria and for New South Wales. So get involved if you're teaching or involved in years 5 to year 9. It's a wonderful opportunity. And of course, we're also running an event for older students, for years 9 to 12 students, as well as any teacher at all from anywhere. And they're invited to register for a special 2.5-day Adobe Premiere Pro workshop during the Easter holidays.
Now, this is a great opportunity to spend some quality time learning a great industry standard application.
There's a free and online intensive workshop that will also involve prizes for some lucky students.
Now, if you look up adobe.ly/video-workshop22 to find out more about the Adobe Holiday Video Challenge Workshop, remember it's being held by Dr. Tim Kitchen from Adobe and will be held from April 11 to 14 during the Easter holidays.
You're watching Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Raithke.
If you're on Facebook, speaking of social media, and you're not already a member of the Australasian Adobe Education Community Facebook group, please join via facebook.com/groups/AUSAEL.
This is a great way to keep regularly involved with Adobe in education and the wider community.
Let's bring all of our guests and Jerry back up to the screen. Jerry, can you get them all up there? Let's have a look at their smiling faces, and yourself as well, Jerry. Wonderful. Now, our next Inject Creativity Live event will be on Wednesday, the 9th of March. Have we got a slide for that one, Jerry? There we go.
Indeed. There we go. So as you can see, we've got Adobe Education Leader Emma Wise from New Zealand. She'll be our AEL presenter, and Adobe Education Leader Brett Salakis will be our thought leader.
For those watching the recording of this episode, join us live if you can in the future. It's always much more fun and interactive when you're live.
And for those watching live, get ready to move to adobe.ly/edu-meet-APAC for our brief fireside chat. And we will see you all at the next episode.
Special thank you to Jerry and Erin for helping to put this show together.
And of course, a very special thank you for Craig and Michelle for their contributions for this episode.
Any final words of parting wisdom from our guests? Craig, you go first.
I was on mute. Always remember not to be on mute. No, other than that, look, explore, be innovative, and just look at different ways of approaching, the everyday life. And I think today's session I thought was really great. We looked at, constructed or curated reality as well as augmented reality. So go out there and explore.
And Michelle?
Everything I've learned when it comes to tech has always been because I've picked a project I didn't know how to do, and then I worked out how to do it. So if you want to get started, find something that looks interesting that you've always wanted to do and commit to it. Give yourself a deadline and see what happens.
Absolutely. That's great advice and my own experience as well. So hurrah.
All right.
So,
Well, here's Rob the robot. He's going to sign things off. Let's give everyone a big wave and thank you again for joining us live. And hopefully we'll see you at the Fireside Chat very soon. Otherwise, we'll see all of you in a couple of weeks' time. Here's Rob to sign off. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching this episode of Inject Creativity Live. For those who are watching live, join us now via adobe.ly/edu-meet-apac for an informal, non-recorded fireside chat to meet and interact with our presenters and other audience members. During this informal chat, you will be able to complete the feedback form and apply for a professional development certificate. If you are not watching this live, join us live next time. Use this QR code or link to find out about dates and topics. And use this QR code and link to find out about other Adobe in Education professional learning opportunities. On behalf of the Adobe in Education team, keep being creative.